for his mate, little Boobo's his name. Together they soar in fortune and fame. With little Boobo, his talons wrapped in light, they summon the winds and the stars to their fight. A curse of great power, a gift or a bane, Thaddeus wields it with little to fame. A rogue with a charm, a sailor with flair, he faces each curse with nary a care. Behold Thaddeus, the sea's arcane knight, with little Boobo in the pale moonlight. Through whispers of magic and the salt-laden air, the turnpike adventure none can compare. So sing of the turnpike, the legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Boobo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journeys just start. The sea's in their blood, magic in their heart. So sing of that turnpike, the legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Boobo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journeys just start. The sea's in their blood, magic in their heart.
I came, Eric's Solania's fields a halfling stood tall, sea gray eyes a fighter's call. With Fiona's love and Angus' smile, his world was bright for a little while. Oh, Harold Grey with list in hand, a promise made, a journey planned. Each task he'll mark, each dream fulfill. For those he's lost, his heart beats still. From Zakar streets to golden fields, their family loved the greatest shield. They dreamed of wonders near and far, penned on a list beneath the stars. Oh, Harold Grey with list in hand, a promise made, a journey planned. Each task he'll mark, each dream fulfill. For those he's lost, his heart beats still. Young Angus fell on distant shore, while Fiona's kiss would come no more. A drunken noble, a vengeful blade, left Harold's world in darkness laid. But from his grief a purpose born, to honor vows that he had sworn. The list unfolds a final wish, a blade resisted a gutted fish. Now Harold roams through joy and strife, to live for three in one short life. From mountains high to oceans deep, this solemn pledge he vowed to keep. With bolder hat and iron will, he faces each task with hard-won skill. For every deed he sees it through, he feels their love forever true. And when the final task is done, when every battle's lost and won, he'll close his eyes, his duty clear, knowing his loved ones drawing near. In afterlife they'll meet again, their love eternal, free from pain. The list complete, their dreams fulfilled, a promise kept, a future will. Oh, Harold Grey, your journey's long, but in your heart they're never gone. With every dream that you fulfill, Fiona and Angus are with you still. Task is done, to live for three in one short life. From mountains high to oceans deep, this solemn pledge he vowed to keep. But from his grief a purpose born, to honor
Candlewick, the Kender cleric brave, met Aelric, a dragonborn far from his cave. To the Clarus Tower they made their way, where ancient books would have their say. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Are Legion and Aelric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Arlie's eyes danced through time's threads, while Aelric's scales gleamed among the spreads. She taught him of Kryn's rich history, while he shared tales of draconic mystery. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Aelric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. dusty scrolls and parchments old, civilization stories Arlie told. Of kings and queens and courtly games, Elric learned of politics' dark aims. In quiet corners they'd often sit, debating lore and sharing wit. Arlie's charm and Elric's might, two cultures merging day and night. The Dragonborn's eyes opened wide to Kryn's vast world on every side, while Arlie glimpsed with growing awe the honor in the dragon's law. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Elric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Came to close, a friendship forged forever chose. Arlie and Elric, once strangers now kin, united by knowledge their journey begins.
Oh, hoist up the sails, let the winds take a clip. For Thaddeus Turnpike commands his ship. For good of the waves, a sailor so bold, with magical powers and a heart of gold. He-ho, Thaddeus sailed the endless sea, with little Bilbo as wise as can be. Through tempest and tide, they roam far and wide, the Turnpike legacy their unfading pride. From the mighty Turnpike line he hails, with a lineage of captains braving the gales. A scion of seafarers fierce and grand, with the smell on his lips and the sword in his hand. Behold Thaddeus, master of the smell, with little Bilbo through heaven and hell. They dance with the stars, they flirt with the dew, their laughter echoes in the ocean's blue. Now for his mate, little Bilbo's his name. Together they soar in fortune and fame. With little Bilbo, his talents wrapped in light, they summon the winds and the stars to their fight. A curse of great power, a gift or a bane, Thaddeus wields it with little to fame. A rogue with a charm, a sailor with flair, he faces each curse with nary a care. Behold Thaddeus, the sea's arcane knight, with little Bilbo in the pale moonlight. Through whispers of magic and the salt-laden air, the Turnpike adventure none can compare. So sing of the Turnpike, the legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Bilbo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journeys just start. The seas in their blood, magic in their heart. So sing of that Turnpike, the legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Bilbo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journeys just start. The seas in their blood, magic in their heart.
From Shanghai he came, Elric
miscellaneous fields, a halfling stood tall. Sea gray eyes, a fighter's call. With Fiona's love and Angus' smile, his world was bright for a little while. Oh, Harold Grey with list in hand, a promise made, a journey planned. Each task he'll mark, each dream fulfill. For those he's lost, his heart beats still. From Zakar streets to golden fields, their family loved the greatest shield. They dreamed of wonders near and far, penned on a list beneath the stars. Oh, Harold Grey with list in hand, a promise made, a journey planned. Each task he'll mark, each dream fulfill. For those he's lost, his heart beats still. Young Angus fell on distant shore, while Fiona's kiss would come no more. A drunken noble, a vengeful blade, left Harold's world in darkness laid. But from his grief a purpose born, to honor vows that he had sworn. The list unfolds a final wish, a blade resisted a gutted fish. Now Harold roams through joy and strife, to live for three in one short life. From mountains high to oceans deep, this solemn pledge he vowed to keep. With bowler hat and iron will, he faces each task with hard-won skill. For every deed he sees it through, he feels their love forever true. And when the final task is done, when every battle's lost and won, he'll close his eyes, his duty clear, knowing his loved ones drawing near. In afterlife they'll meet again, their love eternal, free from pain. The list complete, their dreams fulfilled, a promise kept, a future will. Oh, Harold Grey, your journey's long, but in your heart they're never gone. With every dream that you fulfill, Fiona and Angus are with you still. Task is done, to live for three in one short life. From mountains high to oceans deep, this solemn pledge he vowed to keep. But from his grief a purpose born, to honor
Candle with the tender cleric brave met Ilric, a dragonborn far from his cave. To the Clarus Tower they made their way, where ancient books would have their say. A year among the tomes.
And
Boom, boom.
No
We're
Soap
back.
is a friend of...
We're on. No Soap, we're talking about you. Vikavar, we're talking about you. Kevin the Fight Guy, we got you. Welcome back to You Are Legion. This is where I give an intro to all the people watching. It's a D&D game where you, the audience, gets to be part of the story. Right? That's great. Getting to be a voice inside the head of one of the party members, because in this game, you are Legion. This is the customer's always right. You! My name is Coy. I'm going to be your game master today, as I often am. I'm joined by a smattering of our regular cast. I have crossed out But that was wrong because I went too fast. Claire Hogan, who's playing as the Kender Cleric of Knowledge, Arlie Candlewick the Thoid. That's how you say it in Kender. We have Sean Boyd playing as the last blue dragonborn, Aelric Tiamatikaus. And Sam Gilroy is not here. He's attending an epic performance in Madison Square Gardens. He got some super cool tickets to a super amazing performer whose name I forget because I don't know music. I don't know. People are screaming. There's a lot of phones in the air.
WrestleMania? Is it WrestleMania?
It's WrestleMania 2024. No, if I actually pull it up... it'll be one of these embarrassing things where it's like, oh, I don't even know how to say the name out loud, I think, because it's one of those names. Let me see here. Charlie XCX. Yeah, that's like a person people know, right? They're famous and stuff. They're at Madison Square Gardens. How do you get there? Practice. To all you kids watching. That's a call on an old joke about Carnegie Hall. So we don't have Sam joining us. Michael Keane may or may not be joining us, but the machine spirits are hungry tonight. So we have the three of us, three players plus myself. I have to include myself. I am 4. We are 4 of us tonight. I had a whole thing. I was like, okay, I don't have Sam. I'm not going to have Claire. I have it all planned out. And then life threw me a curveball. So I want to double check. Damn you, Chaos, Lords of Chaos. I've gotten really into Warhammer. There's a new video game called Space Marine 2. It's pretty fun. If anyone likes over-the-shoulder shooters, try it out. But that lore is taking over my brain. We have one more Monday in September. Eric, we had scheduled you for 4, but you're available. Would you be available next week? We had scheduled it for 5. Hell yeah, because we lost you one of those 2 weeks ago. So great. So I don't have to worry about this being our last. That's my main concern.
You and I agreed 4 or 5, depending on how things worked out. So I'm
Sweet.
good all September.
Amazing. Okay, so we're going to get you next week. We'll probably have everyone back next week, or mostly. In terms of who we have right now, we have Aelric, Arlie, and Inpu, aspect of Legion. So, previously on, let me get back to previously on, because we're not going into another world like we sometimes do on these things, I don't think. But it's collective storytelling. Anything can happen. Last week on You Are Legion, our party survived a harrowing journey into the darkness. That's many weeks ago. Confronting despair from each of their own pasts, only to narrowly survive a celestial explosion from the gnomish artifact that contained the essence of the god Helm. The explosion cleared the otherworldly darkness from the land and awoke within the Legion construct the aspect of Inpu, shepherd of the dead. As the party approached the site of a massive arcane explosion trapped in time, they came face to face with 5 armored soldiers, their leader, an old companion, Becklin Uth Viharan, now leading the squadron of Solamnic legionnaires, themselves all constructs from the Celestial War 350 years ago. Becklin revealed her finding the party was not a coincidence. She was on a mission to collect Thaddeus, or his appointed legal representative, and bring them to the capital city of Solamnia to clear up the political complications arising from his recent declaration of conquering Kalaman under the Turnpike banner. The party convinced the knight Uthviharan to assist them in disabling or fixing the arcane explosion in stasis, and they entered the ruins and discovered an ancient construct at the nexus of the breach. And that is where we have a moment of there's this moment of stillness where we were kind of at the cusp of doing things. Thaddeus being the only sanctioned magic wielder in this region, what he was going to do is actually establish a mental link with the construct and attempt to fix or shut down this breach. And I want to. My objective here is to be able to have some almost like a little aside mission episode here, where Thaddeus, and we can also I can also happily say Harold, who has some arcane capacities, are working with the construct, trying to seal this breach or do something like that. We can come back to that moment next week when we have our players. But for today, I wanted to kind of take a sidestep into what Aelric and Arlie and Inpu are doing during that exploration. So this is something that would be happening within this large spire, this kind of semi-destroyed, derelict facility, almost. I think of it almost like the mega... what are those from Judge Dredd? They have these like massive buildings where like tens of thousands of people live in like a single building. It's like a whole city in and of itself. This is kind of like something on that scale or grander, but now fallen into disrepair, is what we're looking at. And so as Harold and Thaddeus are spending some time doing some arcane tinkering at the center of this very, very bright explosion in stasis. You all have been granted protective auras from Thad's magic so that you can wander through this stasis without being trapped within the same temporal field, as well as being protected from that arcane energy, like walking through lightning in a bottle almost. And as you're in this, I think basically what happens is there's not much that Aelric can offer here, and Arlie. They're working on like a highly complicated technological arcane device, or it's this technological device that's made to harness arcane energies, that's in the midst of a stasis spell. There's a construct there. I think very quickly Arlie and Aelric start to feel like two extra chefs that are just kind of getting in the way of like, I'll just stand in this corner where no one needs me. And then Thad is like, actually, I kind of need right behind you. No, just right. If you could just get out of the way, I just need a clear line of sight between this gem and that piece right there. All this kind of not, because in the same way as this is arcane, there's not much logic like you can track wires in engineering. Some of it's just like, this has to be green, or like these two things need to be both facing north, or, you know, other weird arcane logical stuff. So as Arlie and Aelric and Inpu, you start to realize that and I'm going to pull us into just this room so that our players, and we can all kind of remind ourselves what this looks like, and our viewers as well. As we're all kind of standing around and on this catwalk, Thad and Harold are jumping down below the catwalk into the gears, climbing back up, doing all this work. It starts to dawn on the three of you, you're more in the way than anything else. And Harold reminds you in a gruff, kind of like Harrison Ford manner that Harold is best known for, it's going to take some time before this is sorted out.
Oh, okay. So Aelric, having known that, having a little bit of knowledge of what Arlie can do, even as a non-sanctioned, it's such a magicist. Whoever says that, such a magicist. Aelric's gonna formulate the idea based on what Thad is in the attempt of doing, and go to Arlie and ask, you do that spell to reach to others' minds. You did it to me.
I can. Yes. Whose mind do you have in mind?
That one. And he points to the construct that's inside the stasis.
Interesting. And what would she? So yeah, right. Suppose we could see if anyone's home. Sure.
And maybe, from what Harold and Thad keep saying, maybe there's something we can do to stop or assist in stopping whatever this thing has created to make this time stop area. He's starting to run out of words for his really good idea.
I swear, it's like if you could just get in my head, you'd totally get it.
Yeah.
Right. Let me just pull up my D&D Beyond character sheet to tell Coy what the details of my knowledge cleric mind reading jam is.
It's my mind reading jam.
Yeah. Yes, it's one of my channel divinity read thoughts. I can choose one creature that I can see within 60 feet. That creature must make a wisdom saving throw, DC 16.
Okay, so actually last episode, you actually did that. And the construct failed its saving throw. So Arlie, under the guidance of Alberta, did that that subclass ability, and the construct failed its saving throw. So I'll say that you still are within that minute if you want to cast command. What Arlie was able to pull from its mind was very much like I was describing it as, because it's in stasis, its stasis is its mind is also kind of in a still place, whereas most minds that you might have touched through magic or through your own introspection are kind of constantly moving and flowing with new thoughts and stimuli and reacting to itself. This is like walking into like ice almost, and it's this overwhelming desire to protect and save innocence is kind of what's forefront on its mind as you step in to like almost like an immersive, it feels like almost like an immersive art space, because it's this brain that isn't active, so it's alive but also kind of dead still at the same time.
No, I'm sorry. I totally forgot that came from Arlie. I thought that came from that for some reason. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, that was Arlie. I'm just gonna pull up a little fun image here for y'all. This is using ChatGPT, so it's not a perfect representation, but this is a little vibe check on what we're looking at, just to give us a different image to look at, because it's not a battle map. We're not really in battle anymore. So this is just like a kind of a vibe of what we're looking at. It's like this, in the center being that construct, and then add like a massive explosion into this image. But just to give us a little something to look at, so we're not staring at a battle map and then prompting ourselves into combat mentality.
So is this like another Legion? Like I just wasn't there. Well,
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
more advanced. It looks like a more refined version of the one that we've been dragging around, and it's much bigger too, from what I understand. In terms of the actual Legion construct, the non brought to life version, the non-incarnated version, like ours is like basically human size and 400 kilograms. This thing is bigger than me. So
wow. That's
Here you go. I'm going to show you the image right here, so y'all can see it.
kind of wild. This really
Like, think
We're not-
Hulkbuster size.
I don't
Yeah.
know what this means for the lore of our game. I was under the impression that our Legion was very special and housed all the gods, but did they want were they going to transfer all the crystals to this new legion, or are the gods actually just like in parts, and you can get like a multi-set of like, you know, like pogs that, you know, that sometimes they compete, you know, there's more than one Pikachu card out there, I think.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't
does-
seem like there was any receiver. Like, there's no gem receivers on this thing. And the only other thing that we can get from this is that this is just generally gnomish. Like, that's about all we could. Like, we did all these checks, but we can't get any more insight. And I think even Inpu, didn't you do something when we asked you? Didn't you make a check of some sort? Oh, yes. And I forgot about this. Like, the Rosemary logo is on its chest, the thing that's in the chat right now. And so that sparked a Thad to going to what you were saying, right? About Thad wanting to use Rosemary's time altering. What were you saying about that? You said it in the chat.
Oh, Thad, because if I remember correctly, when Arlie tried to read the mind of the construct, Koi explained it was very slow, and then Thad and I believe Harold probably came to it around the same time. Conclusion is that obviously this construct, this large construct, um, is also frozen in time, and so Thad was trying to figure out, like, if we can somehow bring this construct into our own time, um, then we'll all be at the same speed, and we'll be able to talk to them. Because if we tried to slow, because the idea was like, well, what if we slow down and go to their time, but then because time is moving so slowly, for us it would be like taking like hundreds of years to be like, okay, they finished their conversation.
Yeah, it'd be like
Yeah.
dropping into a gravity well. So yeah, Thad had decided, instead of trying to drop into like this gravity well of a slower time perspective, to try to pull the construct out of its slowed time perspective. I'm going to say, because we don't have Thad here, that he has decided for the moment not to do that, because by pulling the caster out, that could potentially risk the spell, which is the only thing that's preventing this arcane breach from continuing at full speed. So Thad has decided that the best thing to do actually is to somehow solve this breach, whether do like a shutdown of the reactor or contain it and like just fix it before bringing this arcane construct's consciousness up to speed, and that's just because of the risk of unleashing this like nuclear arcane reaction that has been brought to a standstill.
Quick
So
question.
it doesn't sound like
for-
I have hardly anything to offer here still. Sorry. Oh, sorry, man.
No, that's okay. It's okay. Quick question for Arlie and Elric. Elric, yes, Elric. Your conversation that you were having, was that like are you, just because I'm curious, would Anubis have heard this? Like, was this in conversation? Like this whole like, what's the construct and all this stuff and.
Yeah, I'm going to say this, like everything I'm telling you is just understood and has been communicated
Yeah.
within the group.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because on that, Anubis would like to sort of show up behind you as you're having this conversation. I don't mean to interject, but I think this is a good time to have a private chat, since the commander outside will not be able to listen in. I feel this is very important information that I'm slowly trying to put together. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. I do not recognize this construct, but I do know the constructs. I was there in part of their inception, and I vaguely understand how this construct, and he points to himself, functions. As I understand it, is a manipulation of a spell which I entrusted to the mortals 400 years ago.
Do you all have names? How does it work?
Well, my part. For my part, that is. I taught a very what's the word I'm looking for? I taught a very controversial spell to help a losing side of a battle which I believed in its cause. As I explained to you earlier, Elric, the constructs that are outside are mortal souls that have been trapped in one of these. And he points at one of the gems on his arm. At the time of the spell, the mortals had a choice: continue fighting or pass on. This allowed the armies to never drop in numbers unless the soldier had enough. But I later found out that my spell, my trust was cheated, and they changed the spell. I don't know how. Mortals can be very clever and tricksy, if you will. They changed the spell, entrapping the souls and enslaving them forever. And unless we can figure out how those constructs out there, it doesn't matter if you destroy them. If you destroy the gem, the soul will just return and be put into another and forced to continue its service.
Not even fighting with that they needed such an evil concept army. How grim. I mean, they were made by the gnomes, correct? This is their stronghold, no?
The gnomes were a part of it, yes. At the time, it was as my memory serves, some of the mortal beings put aside their hate and started to work together. This brought prosperity to the few who joined that collective. And they soon had a lot of confrontation, pushback, the source of which were some of the more let's just say, chaotic gods. And so they decided that they had to find a way to deal with them. I agreed. Some of the gods were taking things too far, causing chaos, keeping everyone back from progress. And so myself, among a few other gods, joined their fight. But when you fight gods, the scales are not quite balanced. And so I decided to help in order for the army not to dwindle as quickly as it was.
Well, it seems like you should be the key to us discovering exactly how we can unmake. I mean, it's your magic, and this is your facility. Or the facility seems like we have most of the pieces, except for the actual knowledge of how to do it or undo it. Where's that?
So are we asking where's Thad?
Yeah, because he's a magic user, and I'm just poking a hole at.
No, awesome. Yeah, that is fully like trying to like contain an arcane spell, like just in a corner, kind of like shoving this magical, like very much with Scarlet Witch or Doctor Strange from Marvel. Like, I'm gonna move my hands in mystical, magical ways. Things that usually avoids trying to do because he grew up with like wielding axes and pulling ropes on ships. But when he really has to work his magic, it becomes, like stretching and pulling the weave of reality. That is required. Exactly. And beside him is Harold, like almost as in the position of like an assistant to a surgeon, like scalpel. He's just kind of standing there. He sees you look over. Arlie says, This is my best, Harold. So, I see you guys can't really do much here, but maybe there's a possibility that this entire place is going to explode in a few minutes. Why don't you take the opportunity to go as high as we can and see if you can spot anything interesting from that vantage point, yeah? And maybe leave us to do our work. How was that, Harold?
I was gonna ask. Yeah, that's great, Harold. I was gonna ask. Now that I see this expanded picture, it's not quite as claustrophobic. So there are no other passages in or out of here, in which you're.
There are other ways.
And you're basically inferring that as well, or are you implying? And I infer. You're implying, and I infer. I think doesn't matter. That that there's a ceiling that extends quite high that I can just go straight up in, right?
Yeah, there is a ceiling. This is like kind of the beating heart of this facility. So there is definitely exits and entrances vertically and horizontally, and different levels of catwalks, all that stuff. There's lots of ways out.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me to go straight up, but it did occur to me just to leave this room and see if we could find some other way to attack this problem or get more information. But I don't know, there's no way in hell that I could get Anubis up or Inpu up there, but I could definitely have, Arlie in my arms and just fly, to as high as I can. If Arlie will allow me to. I don't want to assume. Don't want to be a sizist and just assume, but Yeah.
Why is the place going to blow up? I assume Arlie knows this, so I'm not going to roleplay her trying to
Not
figure
at all. Yeah,
Yeah.
let me. Happy to clarify. So, I am gonna pop over to just another image here, just to back it up a little bit. So, when you all came out of that magical blackness, there's like the explosion, and you went to zero and went unconscious. I think like a couple of the characters did. As you woke up, this is the area that you saw. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this for the chat to be able to see it. Aelric spotted that kind of bluish vertical tint there in the distance. That was an arcane kind of as like an explosion, but it was like in stasis, and you walked towards that. As you've gone towards that with a couple of history rolls that were successful, you realize that what this was it was a breach, like a reactor breach from an arcane reactor. These are ancient. You've heard stories of these, Arlie. These are like ancient power cores that were used to fuel and provide power to old gnomish cities and gnomish urban areas. But none of them had been built for a long time. Assumedly, all of them had kind of been destroyed or blown up. This one is blowing up, but for some reason it's stopped. And it's the type of explosion that would take place in maybe a few seconds. But it seems to be somehow like in stasis. And you've gone into this facility and then to the heart of the core and found that it is like actually under the effects of a stasis spell. So the time has kind of stopped around this explosion. The source of that spell is this construct that I showed you. This character here is the source of the spell that has stopped the explosion. So as players, you have not discovered why this is exploding, but it seems like this explosion has been under like a stasis spell for the last 100, 200, maybe 300 years. And this explosion that would level the whole region is been kind of stopped in its tracks. Does that answer your... So there is still some unknowns about it.
Okay. Right. So yeah, I guess doing Harold's suggestion. I mean, I'm assuming in the last game you guys did all the like Arcana checks and history checks, and knowledge.
Yeah, we kind of did. That's how we found out the little bit that we did, right? It was so limited because it's so distant and it's so old, and the kind of in what Coy described as like this techno arcana hybrid chimerical thing that was going on in front of us, and really this entire building is just beyond the pale to our understanding. Beyond the pale is not exactly what I want to say, but for right now it'll be a nice placeholder. So we were kind of like working on this time thing that Thad was going to accelerate only the entity within the time stasis that was creating the time stasis, but only a certain part of it. So the entire stasis wouldn't continue to move, that the explosion wouldn't continue to move, that just that thing could come out and we have communication. But without him here, we can't kind of do that. So I'm happy just to explore this thing and just see if we can find a way to, I don't know, like,
so I'll give you a little bumpers here to say that like we're kind of within this facility. This is like this old kind of spire ruin. You could take this time. We're going to return next week to like the moment that we're, unfortunately we're kind of in stasis from our main plot. So this session, what we can do is we can like explore the spire some more. You can try to find out more about like what's going on with this explosion, maybe try to find more primary evidence about what was happening, at the time of like the fall of this civilization or anything like that, like do some more history or uncovering stuff or finding some artifacts. Harold has suggested that you go up to as high as you can and like look around, because this is quite a high building in this like wasteland region. So you could like look out and try to look around. You also still have your war map, your gnomish war map, which is like a magical, this is a reminder to our audience and to Eric. This magical war map that you have is, it's like a scroll that can be like opened up, and then they have a bag of almost like chest tokens. And those chest tokens will move themselves to places on the map, and then they will reform themselves to represent things that are on that, like that are in those areas. And this is also like a way to like in-game represent our strategic war map that we can look at. So for example, I can pull that up and we can all see like where we should. Let me know if you can see this. And this is like the strategic war map that is represented on your parchment. So you can look at that. You can go up to the top of the spire. We can do some examining within the spire. There are Becklin and her legionnaires, those constructs from the Solamnic Knights. They're waiting just beyond the reaches of this like stasis explosion. You could go talk to them if you'd like. I'd say like those are so kind of this is kind of what we're looking at here. But you're in a massive, like, this building itself is probably 1 kilometer high.
Jesus.
This is a massive structure.
Well, I would like to imagine that Harley is very excited to be in an ancient tower, sort of her jam. So, yeah, I don't know. As a knowledge cleric, this is a pretty exciting opportunity for knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And I am very open to the chat making any suggestions about, like, I got
1 kilometer high, that's a lot of flying. Like, I don't know, that seems like a really long road to hoe, but I would love to adventure through this place. Do you know what I mean? You're smart, I'm strong, this other dude has some stuff, so it feels like we can take else.
Yeah, I would say 1 kilometer is probably what it was before it like started to fall apart, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The dude to make sure you don't die. I don't know, whatever.
yeah, we got people, we got stuff. There's things going on. Yeah, I'll say, like, I don't want to be like, which door are you gonna? I don't have to be fully honest. I don't have like a detailed blueprint of this region. But you can kind of give me, you can give me an objective. I'm happy. We're playing with time. We're in a very timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey space. So it can very much be like, I want to take an opportunity for this while the A plot is being tinkered with by Thad and Harold, who are just kind of like in the room being like, we'll fix it, don't worry. They're making rolls that we will make in real life next week, basically, is what's happening right now. So while they're doing that, you can, if you like, kind of tell me dramatically what you're interested in. If you want to like bank some rolls, we can start by like doing a couple rolls that we'll bank for next week. If we want to start being like, I want to go explore this, or I want to try to find this, or I want to ask these people these things.
I actually have a thing that I think might be helpful, just given the history of what this place is and knowing Aelric knowing a little bit now, having been in the civilization, is finding either. So Aelric's going to turn to Arlie, and just say, "Do you think a tower like this would have a library, or do you think this tower would have a workshop? The gnomes."
Or 4.
It's going to be like every operation, either perhaps not a library exactly, but sort of like a place for how-to manuals when things break. maintenance center, if you will. Although, what do I know about gnomish bookkeeping?
Give me a history check with advantage.
Great.
So I guess he's saying this to the triumvirate here, so you
Yeah.
can kick in. He hasn't really spoken to Impu since Impu's been yeah, so bold. But yeah,
Elric got really bored.
We're hearing everything. He's not ignoring. He's just Arlie's just, it's Arlie.
Yeah.
I understand.
Is that a 20?
Sure is.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Gnomish bookkeeping. You had, if you remember, Arlie, a long time ago in real life, not so long ago in the game world, you got to, you disappeared a couple times and went to a vast celestial library. One of those returns, you came back with a cat. One of the first times you attended the library, you came back with a tome of rituals, of collected rituals. And that tome, as I described, was there's like a magical way of collecting the information in this tome. Whereas a large book that, if you were to open it up, appeared from cover to cover to be a table of contents. The whole thing was just one table of contents. But if you actually decided to select one of the items that you wanted to read, then you could open to the referenced page, and all of a sudden, that page would no longer be a table of contents, it would be the article you wanted. This type of low-level magic is actually a gnomish invention. So the gnomes used a combination of like practical magic and real. They liked using things, so they rarely had like proper mages would just have like cast a spell and a scroll would pop out of the ether or just come out of a large collection of bookshelves and it would fly down, open itself up, or like a single scroll would just like create the words that you wanted and it'd be like that's where you get your knowledge from. The gnomes don't like to be that ethereal, so it's all much more bound, which from a archaeological perspective means that the knowledge is a lot more resilient to time. The knowledge of mages is lost as soon as the spell is lost. And if you don't know the spell to call up that information, the page will remain blank. But with a gnomish library, the magic and the information is embedded within the artifacts themselves, so you don't necessarily lose it when you lose the wielder or the knowledge of the spell. All to say, gnomish libraries are great sources of ancient knowledge, and building at this scale would very likely have a few libraries. Some of them might be more like, young fiction or whatever, but
So,
definitely going to be
She's
stuff.
going to turn to Aelric and be like, I am delighted to inform you we actually should be able to find a lot of books.
That sounds exactly what we need, and right in your, I think you call it wheelhouse?
Yes, it is called Wheelhouse. I can't remember why. Probably some sort of windmill or milling sort of etymological reason, but yes, let us press on to find some books, perhaps to explain why the entire tower is in such jeopardy.
So do you need us to start rolling checks, like one of those party checks things? So we can start trying to figure out how to negotiate this space and try to like
I'm
harness the clues?
I'm gonna say we're just gonna do a single roll, because this is not necessarily like a complex thing. It's more just like an investigation check. So Harold and Thad are contain. I'm just typing here to. Our players are having a little bee story. Bottle episode. We will call this the bottle episode. Yeah, so I would say you can all give me a individual investigation check, or if you work together, I'll say you can give me investigation with advantage.
Well, we're definitely working together since none of us have the full piece of this, don't you think, Inpu?
Yes, I agree. Assist.
Yeah, I will assist who would ever like to make this roll. I typically make terrible rolls, so.
Rolling on. What stat are we rolling on?
It'd be investigation.
I don't want to be. I rolled them, but I don't want to be the one that rolled them.
I have a very good investigation. If you want me to roll it, plus
Great.
5 on investigation.
Yeah.
Arlie's just standing at a wall and being like, I wonder if the crack in the wall is where it is.
Investigation. You said with advantage, Koi?
Yes.
Booyah.
23. Amazing. With a 23, tell me, what are you looking for? And you can all tell me. You can all chip in if you want, but go for it, Eric.
Well, I mean, from this conversation, what Arlie was talking about, and as she's explaining what she just said, I won't go into details, but I'm looking around and realizing, because Koi, you mentioned that this building has been around for a really long time. I'm looking around, going, hold on a second. I recognize. Impu realizes that he recognizes some of this structure. It's like it is an old building that is of his time, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
All these time metaphors. Oh my God. Let's just put in some more bottle metaphors, and this will be perfect. And suddenly, if I may, suddenly realizes, like, hold on a second. This looks like your standard gnomish mega tower of sorts. And I hate saying if I remember correctly, because to him, Impu is just like
it's been seconds. It's been
seconds.
moments.
So he's like, last time I was in one of these, we go this way. Like last time you go north. Normally the largest.
Yeah, I think for Inpu, the only thing that gets in your way, like Impu kind of like, you're all like, okay, so we're gonna look for a library. Where do we go? And Impu's like, let me just pull up my map here, because I actually was just in one of these. The only thing that kind of gets in the way is like the turbo lifts aren't working because the power is currently in stasis. So there's just like we have like cut to a short montage of lots of stairs. But basically, yeah. So Impu, that's great. With the 23, you're able to find. As I said, there are multiple. Like this is the size of a small town or city. This is like a mega tower. This would be one of many in a larger city, if you were to say. So there'll be like schools in this building. There'll be libraries for children. There'll be like fiction, and then there'll also be like more technical libraries that are kind of connected to like upper, specific training, like engineers or magic users, and as well as more like academic libraries that'll be kind of more specifically for historians, political sections, lots of these types of things. So with the 23, I'll say that you can find whichever topic you're looking for. The question would be, what topic are we looking to explore or to find more?
Right. I mean, Impu passes on this information. It's like, he's,
And we could be
So,
making this. I like the idea of this decision is happening like as we're kind of clanging up some graded stairs. It's like well, most of the libraries begin on the 50th floor. It's like chung chung chung. Like which ones do we want to see?
No stairs, so that's like 18 feet. So
I was gonna say it's like a stramp. Like it's kind of annoying. The steps are so small that it's like you want to take 3 or 4 at a time. You know, if you're trying to go up like a stair ramp where it's like the steps are too small and like long, where you're like, I can't quite do one in each step. Good point. These are Nomus stairs. That's a good point.
what stat do we roll to see if we get frustrated and just start running?
Constitution check.
Yeah, sure. Let's see.
Yeah, Constitution saving throw, I think is what it would be.
Oh, where did it go? Where'd it go? Come on. 1 second, sorry.
Claire or Arlie, Aelric, you can type in our background chat, or we can do a little role playing in terms of like what sort of thing are you looking to find in. Now you can have like a list. It doesn't have to be just one thing. It can be like this is my priority, or these are the few things I'm interested in finding out about. It can be a specific question, or it can just be like I want to know more about a topic. Kind of whatever. Yeah,
and as we're climbing the stairs, Aelric is actually communicating that very thing. I was looking for an in with Arley's since we seem to have a really good direction. Is once we're there, what are we looking for? What is it we should look for? A book, history book. You said something like a manual. I don't know what that even means, but.
I actually think we should be looking for a log of defect. I think that we should be looking for where it is that the mechanics put down the things that went wrong. And when we can find that, it's likely that we will find either times when this exact thing went wrong, and then there should be a log of how the situation was rectified. So I do believe that as long as their maintenance personnel were on top of their responsibilities, then we should be able to find something similar to our predicament.
And
that would be just a
awesome. As Arlie's like this predicament, there's like a and the heavy form of Inpu just crashes through one of the stairs that like cannot take the weight of this construct, and crash, bang, clatter. It takes a few minutes for Inpu to like get back up, but a lot of the stairs have collapsed behind you now. So you're going to continue moving forward, but you have now lost the opportunity to, or actually, Inpu, you don't fly, so you wouldn't even be able to come back up through those stairs. But it's one of those like, just keep going, I'll meet you. And Inpu does like a secondary route and finds you, and just re-enters the conversation as you're moving through this space. Sorry to interrupt. So it sounds, Arlie, like you're looking for like service logs for like the like maintenance logs, or like kind of operational diaries and logs of like the servicing of the space. Is that correct?
Yes. The most like, instead of like how should it work, a log of what does it do when it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And Aelric is still just, no knowledge of what this stuff, and that is a book. It's a book.
Well, it could be a book, or it could be something more clever than that. And if it is more clever than that, then we'll know it when we see it, or we won't.
What else might it be? Like
Sometimes the gnomes have these sort of decahedron-shaped things, and then you press one of the symbols, and you'll get kind of like a projection on the wall, sort of a larger diagram. It's a bit more convenient than, but I'm not sure if they had this technology at the time but I've seen it, and I don't know if that was local to the gnomes where they convey knowledge in unexpected ways.
They are indeed.
Which is
tricksy bunch.
He says, yelling down the secondary way. Inherent in the
and
exit.
he just appears out of a.
All right, so that's what I'm just. I mean, Aelric really is just standing. Well, he's just basically following Arlie's lead. He's just yielded all kind of like choice directions, not necessarily. Well, yeah, just everything. Like, yeah, he's just following in her tow, right? Because she's clearly the one that's got the knowledge and the pathway and knows what the signs are going to be to find the thing that she's looking for specifically. And so the only thing, I mean, if something comes up where we need to fly or we need to, I don't lift or pry or hack, I'll be first to go. But otherwise, he's going to be just kind of like patiently following Arlie's lead. And I guess Impu is just like scurrying around and will kind of stumble into him at some point.
Cool. So you're all able to find Inpu. You're able to lead Arlie to. It's not as much of a library as it would be one of the like central areas where the maintenance occurs. So it would be what you're actually able to find is like a central data bank, like kind of within engineering. But it wouldn't be like this is. You're going so with a 23, it's this. There's not constantly like series of failures, right? It's like if we look at it like a Starship analog, where it's like, okay, I just need to go to a computer bank and I'll be able to access the main computers. Well, first of all, like the bank is destroyed. Then secondly, like, oh right, there's no power here actually. Okay, so if we go to like where can we go where like one of these things is going to be contained? Okay, well if I go to this system and I actually pull out the chip, then if the chip has the data on it, I can actually interface that with my cybernetic body and then like relay the information that is on this chip and like access it through my own data net because like this is a similar technology. So this is like a series of like complications, like, you know, this is an investigation role writ large. And I have a okay, this is the exciting part of okay, I have a log here because ChatGPT is awesome. It's a bit long, so I'm gonna go and I will type it out here in our background chat so that you can all read it as well. But I'm gonna read it out for our chat. Here we go. When you finally get it up and out and you're able to project it onto the... Well, do you speak it Impu, or would you like project the text onto like a wall or something?
I don't think Impu fully understands how the Legion works. He's for some odd reason has this knowledge of like suddenly like, oh yeah, well if I just do this, but he's not 100% sure where that knowledge comes from because for him machines are not his domain. But suddenly he's got this knowledge in his brain. He's like, I just do this and then I do the thing, and so. I think Impu is very old school, and so he would just start talking.
I love it. So Impu's just like accessing. This should work. Final engineering log of lead arcane reactor technician Brindle Coggear. Date unknown. Haven't had proper calendar updates in decades. Time flows funny down here. Reactor hours 433,092 approximate. Well, here we are again. Another day, another misfire in conduit array number 6. Nothing like the smell of singed copper in the morning to remind me that this is my life now. Still, for a machine built to run on ethereal ley energy and raw mana, she's holding up remarkably well, considering the last shipment of fresh Arcanite crystals was, 25 years ago? No matter, though. Old Bertha, as I've affectionately named her, is a resilient beast. Sure, she sputters, groans, and occasionally belts out a bit of wild arcane discharge in the conduits. Had a dodgy rogue lightning bolt the other day. But she mostly is under control. Mostly. All right. So the last few months haven't been smooth. We've been running low on, well, everything. Arcanite crystals, down to my last 2. Mana infusion circuits, overclocked. Don't even ask me about the coolant. I'm improvising with dilated frost gel, which isn't ideal, but it's keeping the core temperature below meltdown most of the time. Okay, if we're being completely transparent here, and this is a private log, right? No one else will see this. Bertha's been getting a bit more temperamental. Reactor surges have increased by 12% in the last 3 weeks. There was that minor explosion near the capacitor bay last week. That's what safety charms are for. Gave me quite a fright, though, I won't lie. Still, it's nothing I can't patch up with a bit of elbow grease and some high-quality gnomish ingenuity. The truth is, I know we're flirting with the edges of safe operating parameters. If I wasn't so busy jerry-rigging every broken pipe and infusing stopgap magic into the arcane regulators, I'd be working on a proper shutdown plan. But the higher-ups don't want to hear about plans, do they? No, they want power. And we give it to them, whether or not the reactor's fit to keep up. A few missing parts? No problem. 100 years without full rebuild? Who's counting? The occasional malfunction, the frequent bypasses, the stress fractures, and the etheric coils, it all sounds bad on paper, but you don't understand Bertha like I do. She's not some relic from another age. She's a gnomish masterpiece. Sure, she's running ragged, and sure, the risk of a catastrophic meltdown might technically exist, but I'm here. I'll keep her in line. Nothing catastrophic will happening when I'm watching over her. I've maintained this reactor with my bare hands and a bag of broken tools for decades now. She won't let me down. We're a team, after all. Of course, there's the nagging worry. I can't quite shake it, like the hum of the low chambers that's been getting louder. It's like something big is building. The fail-safes are still intact, mostly, and I can't imagine anything catastrophic occurring unless the containment wards drop and the core exceeds critical load. But I've set up redundant systems for that. Maybe not perfect ones, but enough to buy me time to improvise. Gnomes are born improvisers, after all. So what if the core readings are a bit erratic? Nothing a proper mana cycle recalibration can't fix. I've had closer calls. Like that time with the mana-burrowing mites in the cooling vents? Now that was a disaster averted. This is just another day in the life of an arcane engineer. Besides, they always say if it hasn't blown up yet, it's not going to blow up today. Probably. Anyway, I'll patch up Conduit Array 6 by sundown and do another run of the etheric stabilizer checks. Bertha's got a few more decades in her. I'm sure of it. Catastrophic failure? Pfft, not on my watch. End log. A note scribbled at the bottom of the page. Should probably check the emergency evac golems, just in case.
Wow.
Oh. What was that?
Someone whose supervisor was not looking at their logs. That's what that was. So, out of all of that information, were you able to discern anything? Because, truthfully, mechanical... It's out of my wheelhouse.
This must be that technomancy that spoke of. I got lost when it started to sound like politics. I don't know what any of those items are.
Say that I do either, but
Input.
perhaps... Luckily, we can ask a construct themselves about themselves.
Yeah. So our chat is like there's this previously overlooked small skeleton in a red shirt in the corner. Just had to throw that in. Love it. Yes, thank you, chat. It's great. That's what this is about. Shared storytelling at its best. So I'll definitely say like all of the techno arcana jargon is you could try to make a roll for. It's pretty much beyond any of your backgrounds. But the general gist, I think, is pretty clear. To pull to like, I think all of your characters would be able to pull from that the general sense that this arcane reactor had been going for decades without proper equipment, been like jury rigged for decades. It had also been designed to be going on for centuries, but they've lost replacement parts, and so this engineer has been trying to continue its operation without the proper parts, and is kind of saying that there's someone above him who is kind of forcing him to keep it going and not accepting a shutdown, which would be safer.
Politics.
Right.
Politics.
Yeah, and also just Eric gets the sense that also like the higher ups want more power, which is another reason why like we keep the reactor they want more, and because more and more people are coming to the city or whatnot. So they keep And you said what kind of role could we do for this, Coy?
So you could, if you want to learn any more, you could do another investigation check to try to find out like more information. You could do a history, like it kind of depends what you want to like. You can continue going through the archives to try to find more information. You could give me like an insight roll or a straight intelligence roll if you're trying to like pull information from what you just read. Strictly within the context of what you just saw.
Yeah, Elric does turn to Arlie and asks, "Is this what we have been looking for? Should we look for more?"
Truthfully, between this and Harold's suggestion to just go all the way to the top, I can't tell which one's better. I don't feel like we learned anything that we can practically apply ourselves. We are clear that it's been broken for a long time. And maybe we should just go and look at a view. Appreciate the sunset. Because maybe it'll be our last. You never know.
There's something nagging me. I would like to do an insight check on what was just on like Impu would like to do an insight check on like just basically recap this log. Because there's so much of it, and I try to look at it, but like it just goes on. It's like but there was something there that as you were reading it. Oh, that, and that. So if I may, insight check. Normal, yes.
What are you trying to find out?
Insight check that like I have a feeling that Eric has a feeling that there was something in this that was just like there was something that was oh wait, no, not collapse, expand. There was something where was it? There was nothing what was it? A recalibration, like a proper mana recalibration can't fix, like something like that. It was just like there was a lot of that in the text where it was just like, oh, if I just do this, that'll be fine, or like
I guess I'm trying to search for like what actionable information you're trying to gain from.
Oh, actually, yes, better, because I have this chip in my person wherever it is, and I'm sort of like,
yeah.
Can I do an insight check to cross-reference other logs to this one? like because he mentions like nothing like this won't fix nothing like where there's been like some like almost explosion like type things, and and this person just goes, oh, I just did one of these quick things and it fixed it. Does that make sense? Like recurring theme of this thing potentially exploding and this particular engineer going, oh, I just got to do this and it's done.
Okay, so I'm going to give you, and I'll say this is another investigation check. I'll say this will be a difficulty 10, and then at 15 you'll get more information. On 20 you'll get more information.
Investigation.
So every 5 above the DC you'll get further information.
Roll normal. I have a very high intelligence. 24, please.
24. So that's 15, 20. Okay, so doing an investigation, like basically pulling up keywords from this report and doing like a backwards check through like the database, what you're able to find is, and this is all like without full, it's kind of like looking up a bunch of reports of like a mechanic without knowing how to build an engine. If that makes sense, right?
Yeah. So
it's like all these reports of like, oh, like it seems like they keep talking about like having to do this thing, or like this item keeps coming up or whatever. The long story short, with a 24, you're able to ascertain that most of what this lead engineer, whose name was awesome, Brindle Coggear, has been doing has been like kind of workarounds for lacking parts. So parts will wear out, and then it's about like doing an ingenious workaround because a part is no longer working. And what that means is that eventually redundant systems no longer become redundant, because you have like, in a spaceship you have like 4 backups. Eventually you're like, well, you know what, that 3rd backup or that 4th backup, we could just take a piece from that because we need it for this primary like system over here, and we still have 3 backups. And then you're like, oh no, we need this 3rd backup now for another thing. We still have 2 backups, that's fine. So it's been a lot of that going on, and eventually the 24, you just see like the number of redundancies just like fell away until some crucial systems didn't really have them anymore, and the whole system was operating where like there was about half a dozen areas that could fail, which no longer had redundancies, and then like the safe, and also the safety shutdown system, which would normally, like in the case of certain red line indicators, basically force the whole core to shut down. That entire system was cannibalized because first of all, the higher ups didn't want the system to shut down, and also as they kept having to fix it, the whole system went into red lines constantly. So they had to basically shut down the safety valves to make sure that it would allow it to keep going, which meant that great, it can keep going even under these like higher constraints, but when it fails, nothing's going to stop it. It's pretty much what's going to happen. Right. And I will say that what you are able to find, this is with a 24. You're able to find something that is like not fully related, but it pulls your focus, and you pull up another direct log, and that is maintenance log, senior technician Flick's gear fumble. Date, 3 days after the great dust storm, I think. Subject, arrival of construct, Rosemary Leaf. Rosemary Leaf finally arrived today. By the sparks, what a sight. Don't believe the rumors, though they were just gnome gossip, tall tales over a pint of sprocket ale. Quote, a machine unlike any other, powered by arcane cores we haven't seen in centuries, they said. Well, it turns out they weren't exaggerating. Not even a little. She's sleek, Too sleek, if you ask me. Looks more elven than gnomish. With all those smooth curves and polished surfaces, doesn't feel right, if I'm being honest. Where's the charm of exposed gears, the satisfying clank of metal? But that aside, Rosemary Leaf is an engineering marvel. Whoever built her knows things far beyond our dusty old schematics. She's loaded with tech we've never seen. Rune-inscribed plating, self-repairing alloys, and some kind of self-propelled gyroscopic stabilizer that makes her move way too quietly for comfort. It's eerie. The moment she rolled into the workshop, every other machine went silent, like they knew something big had arrived. Command says she's here for some special duties. Won't tell us much more beyond that, typical. All I know is she's not running on anything we've got in our inventory. No Arcanite crystals, no mana coils. It's like she's pulling power from the air itself. We're under strict orders not to tinker with her inner workings. Just basic upkeep and observe her behavior, they said. Observe! Like she's some kind of pet. I don't like it. Still, if she's here, things are about to get interesting. I'll keep my wrench ready. End log.
Is Rosemary Leaf one of the characters from one of our other from Paul's game?
That's right. Yeah, she entered the canon because there was that Rosemary Leaf insignia on the big thing. So that's in the chat. That was in the chat that Koi put in the big thing. That was the one thing that was kind of dropped to us right before we broke.
That was that was the character that Sam. I mean, I caught the I remember in the last adventure that was the one that Sam was playing at the end, who was basically trying to sacrifice herself to save Legion or to blow up Nire, or I forget exactly. It's been a couple weeks since that adventure, but that
I'm gonna say you can learn more. Your character that's all like behind the table stuff. Yeah. You can learn more about Rosemary Leaf if you want to do an investigation check. I'll say you can give me an investigation.
Learn more. You're starting to sound like the what's that film? Damn it, Starship Troopers. To learn more.
To learn more, click I accept. But yeah, you can do an investigation check on Rosemary Leaf if you want. Arlie could also give me a history check if she wants to see if she can remember or pull up anything about Rosemary Leaf.
Because Thad did do a history check, and Thad, I think, won or got it right. Didn't chat that? Yeah, but I don't know that he passed on the information before we broke. So.
No, I don't think so either.
All right. What? Juniper, 21 history check. Pew, 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 pew. Arlie. Rosemary Leaf. Thad rolled a nat 20 on last week as well around this. And I'll say that Arlie...
I have a -1 to intelligence, so I don't know how I got a 21.
Well, you have a +3 as well.
Oh, great.
So you rolled a 19, -1 +2. Bam. Ooh, scary. Sean's got a little scary thing going on there. With a 21 history check, Arlie, Rosemary Leaf is in the same way that you, when you first were, I was said this last week, similar to Sean, to Sam, when you did research into the Dragonborn in the tower, when Aelric first arrived in the tower with you, you were able to pull up a lot of like old bardic tales that had been written down. And they spoke of these legions of dragons. But they also spoke of them in a way that they were clearly not dragons. They were more like armies. And there was this weird disconnect that was kind of just chalked aside to the artistry and poetic license of the bards. And like they probably weren't there anyways, and like they might have just like used a dragon as their insignia on their armor or something. And when you have Aelric there with you, you're like, oh, this makes a lot of sense. They were like dragon people. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. No, it was actually literal. They were just straight up being literal. Similarly, there is a period of time that I think Arlie had a period of interest in her time in the tower about the pre-cataclysmic era, like before the fall, when everything changed. Especially, I think this is probably in the period when Arlie first was contacted by Xivalin and is like, oh, there's a god who I'm now like totally an emissary of. I'm actually curious about what happened to the gods. And luckily I'm in this massive library. And this god is helping me find the right books. So she spent a lot of time like investigating that period. In that period was when you first read about, and the reason you call this robot that is possessed by the gods that travels with you Legion, is because that was what it was referred to. It was referred to as the Legion prison in many texts, or the.
Can you rephrase that? Did you say prison or prison? Prison.
Prison, like a jail, a prison. So in the texts, it was referred to as this Legion prison, which is it was a weird noun that kept coming up, or this like connection of nouns, and it didn't make a lot of sense. Once you met Legion and you realized, oh, it's a prison for the gods, and it is a thing and it's a prison at the same time, it kind of made more sense. Similarly, seeing the figure, the construct in the center of this stasis explosion, seeing the word rosemary, seeing the rosemary leaf on its crest, the crest on its armor, hearing the word rosemary leaf in these ancient records, you remember that there also was reference to the rosemary, to the sprig of rosemary, the rosemary leaf in all these different bardic tales. With a 21, the rosemary leaf was actually created as a backup in case the Legion construct failed. You don't ever just make one. It's way too hard to just make one. And if that one fails, you've wasted all your time. It's a lot cheaper to make a second while you're already making one. And the gnomes love redundancies. So the rosemary leaf construct was actually created in the image of the Legion construct and was meant to replace it were the Legion construct to fail or fall apart or be destroyed by the enemy. But after its creation and after the Legion construct succeeded, what happened to the rosemary construct kind of faded from the records. Is that an answer to your history check?
I believe that it was a very thorough,
It was a very
It's
thorough
a
roll.
deep dive.
It was a 21.
It was a Wikipedia hyperlink rabbit hole of
Oh, no.
a history check. So,
And of course, this is all spilling out of Arlie's mouth just as fast as Coy was just dictating it. So we're all just like hypnotized by all this information, I'm sure.
This
yeah,
is,
yes. I don't
We
know
will
that
call
it
this-
necessarily helps us, but it's, you know.
This is the exposition bottle episode.
So Aelric will ask Arlie at the end of this, and there's no indication of where this backup construct is now. No knowledge.
I think
In the right.
it makes total no. I think sorry to interrupt. Sorry, I'll stop.
Oh, I don't need to go make up more logs books for us to check. It's fine. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say you can all make the connection that the construct that is casting the spell downstairs is this rosemary leaf.
Even Aelric can make that connection.
If you want Aelric to get told by Arlie, let's role play it. Happy to do that.
Roll
Yeah.
for it for sure. Just simply
Yeah.
because he's still like new, like gameplay wise, like this is all still brand new for him. Like every time it's like this
Yeah.
big jump. So you kind of have to walk him through it.
I think
little bit.
Arlie and Inpu get it, so we can role play this scene of Aelric trying to kind of ask about it.
I just Elric says it, and Impu just and Impu looking at Arlie hears Elric ask this question, and just kind of goes, "Huh?" Just a slow like, wait, what?
Lead on. All will become clear.
Okay. I trust
Claire
you.
doesn't get it. Claire actually doesn't get it. But Arlie
Oh, no,
does,
no.
So I just...
No, I want Claire to get it. So I'm going to say it very quickly. The construct downstairs that is currently casting a stasis spell to prevent an arcane nuclear explosion. That is in progress. This explosion is because the reactor was being maintained for decades after it ran out of parts. So it's just decaying and decaying and decaying, but was being forced to stay running. And so clearly, eventually it failed.
Right.
This rosemary leaf construct seems to be casting a spell that is stopping the explosion mid-explosion. This construct that is doing that magic is the backup to the Legion construct. It was created at the same time to be the backup in case the Legion construct failed or was destroyed by or lost or destroyed. It was there as the backup.
Okay.
It's been lost for a long time. No one knows what happened to it. You've now found it. And it's clearly changed. Its body's, it no longer, it doesn't look like the Legion construct, but it is that.
It has this is actually really good. This is actually super beneficial information. Sean got it, but Aelric couldn't put that stuff together. But it's super helpful information because one of the reasons that we were trying to stop time, or Thad was trying to stop time, was to get somewhat this kind of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't sound like there's going to be. Well, I guess Aelric needs to. I need to play the game, or we need to take a break and then come back.
Let's take a break. We're at 9:20. I'm going to say. Sorry, Eric. Did you want to? Okay.
Oh no, I was just like rock on break.
Rock on break. So I'm going to say 15 minutes. So we'll be back at 9:35. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I'm going to turn on our little cool slideshow, and we'll be back in about 15 minutes.
Arlie Candle with the Kender cleric brave met Aelric, a dragonborn far from his cave. To the Clarus Tower they made their way, where ancient books would have their say. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Aelric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Arlie's eyes danced through time's threads, while Aelric's scales gleamed among the spreads. She taught him of Kryn's rich history, while he shared tales of draconic mystery. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Aelric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Through dusty scrolls and parchments old, civilization stories Arlie told. Of kings and queens and courtly games, Aelric learned of politics' dark aims. In quiet corners they'd often sit, debating lore and sharing wit. Arlie's charm and Aelric's might, two cultures merging day and night. The dragonborn's eyes opened wide to Kryn's vast world on every side, while Arlie glimpsed with growing awe the honor in the dragon's law. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Aelric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Another year of learning came to close. A friendship forged forever chose. Arlie and Elric, once strangers, now kin. United by knowledge, their journey begins.
Oh, hoist up the sails, let the winds take a clip. For Thaddeus Turnpike commands his ship. For rogue on the waves, a sailor so bold, with magical powers and a heart of gold. Behold, Thaddeus sailed the endless sea, with little Bubo as wise as can be. Through tempest and tide, they roam far and wide, the Turnpike legacy, their unfading pride. From the mighty Turnpike line he hails, with the lineage of captains braving the gales. A scion of seafarers fierce and grand, with the smell on his lips and the sword in his hand. Behold, Thaddeus, master of the smell, with little Bubo through heaven and hell. They dance with the stars, they flirt with the dew, their laughter echoes in the ocean's blue. And now for his mate, little Bubo's his name. Together they soar in fortune and fame. With little Bubo, his talons wrapped in light, they summon the winds and the stars to their fight. A curse of great power, a gift or a bane, Thaddeus wields it with little to fame. A rogue with a charm, a sailor with flair, he faces each curse with nary a care. Behold, Thaddeus, the sea's arcane knight, with little Bubo in the pale moonlight. Through whispers of magic and the salt-laden air, the Turnpike adventure none can compare. So sing of the Turnpike, the legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Bubo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journeys just start. The seas in their blood, magic in their heart. The legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Bubo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journeys just start. The seas in their blood, magic in their heart.
Elric
Salamia's fields, a halfling stood tall. Sea gray eyes, a fighter's call. With Fiona's love and Angus' smile, his world was bright for a little while. Oh, Harold Grey with list in hand, a promise made, a journey planned. Each task he'll mark, each dream fulfill. For those he's lost, his heart beats still. From Zakar streets to golden fields, their family loved the greatest shield. They dreamed of wonders near and far, penned on a list beneath the stars. Oh, Harold Grey with list in hand, a promise made, a journey planned. Each task he'll mark, each dream fulfill. For those he's lost, his heart beats still. Young Angus fell on distant shore, while Fiona's kiss would come no more. A drunken noble, a vengeful blade, left Harold's world in darkness laid. But from his grief a purpose born, to honor vows that he had sworn. The list unfolds a final wish, a blade resisted a gutted fish. Now Harold roams through joy and strife, to live for three in one short life. From mountains high to oceans deep, this solemn pledge he vowed to keep. With boulder hat and iron will, he faces each task with hard-won skill. For every deed he sees it through, he feels their love forever true. And when the final task is done, when every battle's lost and won, he'll close his eyes, his duty clear, knowing his loved ones drawing near. In afterlife they'll meet again, their love eternal, free from pain. The list complete, their dreams fulfilled, a promise kept, a future will. Oh, Harold Grey, your journey's long, but in your heart they're never gone. With every dream that you fulfill, Fiona and Angus are with you still. To live for three in one short life, from mountains high to oceans deep, this solemn pledge he vowed to keep. But from his grief a purpose born, to honor
Candlewick, the tender cleric brave, met Aelric, a dragonborn far from his cave. To the Clarus Tower they made their way, where ancient books would have their say. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Aelric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Arlie's eyes danced through time's threads, while Aelric's scales gleamed among the spreads. She taught him of Kryn's rich history, while he shared tales of draconic mystery. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Aelric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Through dusty scrolls and parchments old, civilization stories Arlie told. Of kings and queens and courtly games, Elric learned of politics' dark aims. In quiet corners they'd often sit, debating lore and sharing wit. Arlie's charm and Elric's might, two cultures merging day and night. The Dragonborn's eyes opened wide to Kryn's vast world on every side, while Arlie glimpsed with growing awe the honor in the dragon's law. A year among the tomes they spent, two worlds colliding, heaven sent. Arlie and Elric, an unlikely pair, building a friendship beyond compare. Another year of learning came to close, a friendship forged forever chose. Arlie and Elric, once strangers now kin, united by knowledge their journey begins.
Oh, hoist up the sails, let the winds take a clip. For Thaddeus Turnpike commands his ship. For lord of the waves, a sailor so bold, with magical powers and a heart of gold. Behold, Thaddeus sailed the endless sea, with little Bilbo as wise as can be. Through tempest and tide, they roam far and wide, the Turnpike legacy their unfading pride. From the mighty Turnpike line he hails, with the lineage of captains braving the gales. A scion of seafarers fierce and grand, with the smell on his lips and the sword in his hand. Behold, Thaddeus, master of the smell, with little Bilbo through heaven and hell. They dance with the stars, they flirt with the dew, their laughter echoes in the ocean's blue. And now for his mate, little Bilbo's his name. Together they soar in fortune and fame. With little Bilbo, his talents wrapped in light, they summon the winds and the stars to their fight. A curse of great power, a gift or a bane, Thaddeus wields it with little to fame. A rogue with a charm, a sailor with flair, he faces each curse with nary a care. Behold, Thaddeus, the sea's arcane knight, with little Bilbo in the pale moonlight. Through whispers of magic and the soft laden air, the Turnpike adventure none can compare. So sing of the Turnpike, the legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Bilbo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journeys just start. The seas in their blood, magic in their heart. The legend, the tale, of Thaddeus and Bilbo setting sail. For where the map ends, their journey
suffering.
Sound effects. Welcome back. Welcome back to You Are Legion. We are back in the middle of the exposition bottle episode, where we learn more about the history of the world, while the main plot is being processed, in process. It'll take some time. Why don't you go check out the fine sights in the local area while we recalibrate your Bazorkazork. Welcome back. What would we like to do? Is there any questions about what the fuck is happening? I actually don't understand the laws of the world. I don't understand where we are, what's happening, or like I want to use this time to investigate something, or what can I investigate? I throw it to y'alls.
Well, can I just ask a logistical question?
Yeah.
How? I mean, I know that there's a height limit. I did all the research on the break and everything like that. I could certainly fly that high. It would just take a long, long time to carry. I mean, Arlie's well within my weight capacity to carry her and me and all our shit a kilometer skyward.
I'm gonna say
Harley's ability to find an elevator.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah. Now we're thinking like gnomes.
Now we're thinking like gnomes. Give me an investigation check with advantage, because you have Inpu with you.
Unless
to
I
find
want to ask Inpu to do
and what
it.
we're looking for. So Arlie, what you're looking for is a little different. You're looking for a elevator that is technically functional, so it hasn't been like physically destroyed.
Or within the magics of the bubble.
No, so the magic, the problem is like the arcane reactor which powers everything is right. But Arlie, with a 10 investigation, you are able to find a elevator. Now the problem is the elevator doesn't have power because the arcane reactor is currently exploding and in stasis at the same time. But I will say that spending a first level spell slot that'll be the cost, and then you can explain to me what it looks like for you to activate this elevator and carry all of you to the top. So it won't require a roll mechanically. It'll just require expending a single first level spell slot, and then you can describe how Juniper uses her magic to activate this elevator, which runs on magical energy.
I think, okay, yeah, we'll expend a spell slot, and then I just picture her walking over to like a gear, or like opening a panel, kicking open a panel. Like, it's always a panel. Kicking it open, and then just like forcing a lever. You know when you like, but you know when something goes off its gears and it goes too fast, or it goes like, you know, I don't know, like not quite like a bike chain falling off, but somehow like a bike chain that's like off of, like it's on the lowest. It's like now it's on the lowest setting, and it should be on a much. Anyway.
Sure. Yeah.
I picture her getting the elevator to move way too fast.
Awesome. It's like Arlie pops a panel, and then just like little tinker, a little readjustment, close the panel, and then as you spend that spell slot and mark that on your sheet there, there's a little imbuing, like the crest. So you actually you wear the symbol of Zivelin because you all have that pendant that like allows you to heal yourselves. So Arlie has that. Arlie, what other symbols of Zivelin do you wear? You have, I think, the world tree on your shield that was gifted to you, right? On that magical green shield. Is it anywhere else on your person?
I think that, unfortunately, I think that her whole thing, the wandering cleric, just has to wear really drab kind of friar tuck robes.
I love it.
Like, So like there might be, yeah, I don't think there's another Zivelin indicator. I think that there might be something to indicate the cleric's tower, but
Awesome. So as you close it and like kind of do a little like tinkering with some gears and drive chains, and then you hit the button for roof. It's one of those like ridiculous, like way too many buttons, right? This is a very high elevator. It's actually so much that like you kind of type in. There's not a button for each floor. You actually have to like type in like on a keypad, like floor 506 or floor 632. But then there's like penthouse, and you just like, I'm just gonna go top floor. How about that? And as you do it, there's a glow from underneath, because like you have your pennant that's just underneath your shirt, kind of glows a little bit of light. Your shield, anyone watching, Arlie has this green kite shield that was gifted to her by Ispin, which he claims was given to him by a unicorn. Just a side note, which also glows a little green, like kind of spring leaves. And the lights light up, the door closes, and I'm going to ask everyone to do a Constitution saving throw as Arlie turned the elevator to high speed mode, and it rockets all of you very, very high up. Nice. Inpu, you just stand there like the 21. The construct body is very resilient. Arlie, whether it's through your own personal resilience or a protection from the god itself, you just kind of stand there like totally fine. Actually, it's Aelric who... Yeah, it's just kind of like almost like she's not even feeling anything. It's like almost free falling, but going straight up, like the opposite effect. Aelric is the only one who, I wouldn't say like you're not hurt or collapsing, but you feel the weight in your legs, where it's like all of a sudden someone put a heavy bag on you, and it's like, whoa, this is we're going up real fast. And then comes to a stop. Ting! The doors open, and it goes out onto a little nice hallway. This is like a residential area. The hallway ends about 13 paces into just a jagged like expanse as you see the landscape around you, because this hallway has half collapsed over the past few hundred years. And out the hallway you see this image of this vast landscape opening out ahead of you. Oh, is that my cat complaining?
So like we are like straight up outside is what you're saying, like looking out to outside, you mean, past the hallway?
You're looking, yeah, so the hallway extends, and then someone's like just torn the other half of the hallway, and it's just now an exposed to the outside, and this is what you're looking at. This is what you can see. This is looking westwards.
Okay, can I ask a question having to do with the explosion? Does it travel up this high? Like, does the stopped explosion, is it in status this high? Or are we out of it?
I think if you look down, you can see the highest ascent of this explosion, like just below you. The explosion hasn't yet crested the top of what remains of the spire, but it is almost at this height.
Yeah. Okay. I remember you saying it wasn't at the very, very top, but I was just making sure. I was just checking how far it was.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is not technically the roof, but like the roof is also collapsed. This is the highest point that remains.
Okay. Shit. So, Aelric turns to Arlie and points as he's talking. Is that on your map? The gnome map? Is this on your map?
Do I have a map?
Don't you
We
have the gnome
war
map?
We
war
do.
map?
We have our war map.
But great.
I've pulled it up here for you.
I think that's Fantastic. Yes, I knew where this was in my bag.
Yeah, there it is. Arlie, yeah, you pull out your like rolled up war map and lay it out. Open your little bag of chess pieces. They scatter across it and then get pulled almost like by magnets.
Oh, yes, I remember this now.
They fill up all these different spots, and as they hit the spot, they reform in a little bit of magical, arcane, like gnomish magic, and they become representations of different things across the landscape. So you're now looking at an up-to-date map. Let me know if you have any questions of what you're looking at, or if you want to go back to what you're actually like to the view from your height.
She's just gonna be like, there must be an indication of what direction the forge is. There just must be. There just has to. There's no way that the gnomes would build something this tall and that it wouldn't look out at the other things that they've made. Or maybe they would.
So, do you wanna spend like you? Unfortunately, because we're online, I can't just like give you all of it. I think I have to kind of swap between. If this was a table, I would like give you the map so you could like look at both of them at the same time.
I'll go look at the map.
But if this is
I'll
the
go
map,
take some time to do that, and that's Arlie articulating her, I don't know, desire.
so you can. So I just want to make sure. Can you see the map?
Yeah, man. I see the map
Yeah,
on my
Arlie.
screen.
Yeah,
Oh, and
Arlie, are you able to see it?
I see it in our. Oh, I see it on our Twitch. Hold on, I'm just gonna close.
You don't see it on your computer?
I'm sort of trapped looking. Oh, I had like 7 pop-outs of the Legion of the Rosemary construct.
Ah, sorry.
I've popped them away, and now yes, I can see.
Okay, so this here is where you are. I'm just like pinging it there on the map.
Mm-hmm.
That is where you all stand. This here is the elven ship. That's where those elven refugees are that you sent to go look. This big airship, which was where Bubo was captured and brought back to, is that airship.
Mm-hmm.
The airship is right on top of that place that you encountered the death dragon, the one that where you when you went to the Fey realm, that was there.
Yeah.
When you came back, that's there. Right now, that space is occupied by this massive war zeppelin. This token here is of a mounted dragonelle. It's what the token looks like, almost like a knight in chess. And if you look out, because you were looking in a westerly direction from the top of this spire, this is quite a far ways away, but you can tell that it indicates the same squadron of dragonelle that captured Bubo. So they are like roaming the land, and they've been picked up by your map. This teleportation node, if you remember, you activated one teleportation circle, like that giant 100-foot circle. That's where little Bubo, the familiar, exploded in feathers. You also defeated the clay golem there, I believe, which was meant as a defense mechanism around it. And then Thad was able to activate it. But there's no other activated portals. You can see the darker ones here and here. Can you see these where I'm indicating farther to the west?
Yeah.
These were other teleportation nodes that appeared when Thad did some magic. These are all connected to the same like network, but these are not active right now. And there's another one here. And these are not active, but they are other locations of portals that haven't been destroyed. And were they to become active, one would be able to travel between any of these teleportation circles or nodes, like instantaneously. This dark circle on the map corresponds to, you can actually see it when looking out of, and I'm going to bring us back to our view, because this circle here corresponds to that black circle. It is, if anyone wants to give me an Arcana check, it'll be a DC 10 to identify it.
Ooh, I want to do that.
Same.
I'm also curious. I'm really curious about that city. I don't know where that city is. Right? That's not a city that we've seen, that we've walked to, is it?
We
so
any of this because it was covered in shadow.
this was, this area was entirely covered in shadow. But also, to be fair, like the whole northern wasteland used to be like the homeland of the gnomes.
Yeah.
Not everything, and it's also each hex is 6 miles, so each one of the hex contains their own ruins and things like that.
To make sure, it's just an interesting thing, and it's good to know that that's there. Elric with the very rare intellectual insight check here with the Arcana 18.
Hell yeah. Inpu with an 11. Impu's just kind of, I think Impu, I'm going to come to I'm going to start with the lowest. And we'll move our way up. Impu with an 11, you are distracted you're distracted away from that sphere of darkness, because from this height, your ability to see beyond the veil and see the dead, you actually see streams of undead ghosts coming from different, like, not like an army, but like individuals, maybe sometimes 2 or 3, all traveling towards that darkness. And that distracts you.
Is there a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man anymore?
Not yet. Aelric, with an 18, you recognize that darkness. It's much larger. It's clearly massive. It's almost like a black sun on the horizon. And it is very much, you see that it is similar to the darkness that was just eradicated that you were within. It seems similar, like coming from the same place. Juniper with a 23 Arcana check. The blackness that piece of the Shadowfell realm where you were all in, that was eradicated by that explosive energy just, recently, a couple weeks ago in real life, or maybe something more. That came from somewhere, right? That was like if you were to rip a hole in a drum of oil, and that oil was to spread out across the water, you'd have like pools of oil on top of the water. What you were just within was like one of those pools. What you're looking at with that massive circle on the horizon, that's the source of where this pierce in reality to the Shadowfell must have originated. So that is like a hole in reality through which the dark pitch of the Shadowfell is falling out. And I will tell you that with an Arcana 23 to honor that 23, there are very few things in reality that could do something like this. One of the things that would have enough power to create a rift that size through reality would be the Arcane Forge.
Nice roll.
Impu raises his finger and points What is that?
Right, that's
You're mute again.
sorry. I unfortunately believe that we might have done that. But on second thought, I actually don't think that we did. I think that we, based on my arcane knowledge, I believe that, as much as I like for us to take credit for most of the bizarre happenings across Kryn, I actually think that that indicates the location of the forge. Because we've just thrown the magic football at the problem we created. I don't think we made that problem. I think we made this rift, but not that one. We probably had a small hand in it, but that's much rift.
So you're saying that what we've been searching for, that we had no guidance for at all, that we had no clarity on what even it might look like or where it might lie, is there.
Really, based on experiencing this sort of outpost that houses the Legion, knowing that this is not the forge, it means that the actual forge would require an even larger energy source. And I don't think it's any coincidence that the shadow was drawn. I know that the shadows are moving, but that it was drawn to cover this location. And so I'm extrapolating, but I do think that there is more Feywild fabric ripping, and perhaps that one's not even connected to the Feywild. So that's just a hole in the space-time continuum.
Just the four. And Aelric points to it and says, looking down at the map, looking out, and just goes back to the map that's still out. It says, and it's there, right? Because it's clearly shown on the map, right? Yeah. It's this thing.
Is
It's
it labeled
Whirlpool.
a dark place?
No, wait, where is it?
The dark
It's
place.
this thing. Dark place. It's in this. It's this right here, right? Or is that the teleportation node? It's really hard to see.
This is a
I see.
teleportation node.
Oh, I see how it's all okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
I think that.
So where's the swirl exactly? Can we see the actual swirl, or is this big circle here representative of this swirl?
So that big circle is representative of that circle on the horizon. That's how far away that circle is.
So a good distance.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it like you're here, so that's, and 6 miles per hex is 6, 12, 24, 36, right? It's like 50 miles away.
God dang it. Okay. Okay.
So I think our next question is, well, we don't even know what our plans are once we get to the forge, and then Arlie furtively looks at Legion, and then looks at Aelric, and then back at Legion, and then back at Aelric. As we're not entirely clear from creating or unmaking or what our plan is. I think we have a couple ideas, though.
I think we have a couple of ideas, and I think additionally, the members of our party downstairs have a couple of ideas. In addition, we should leave this place. We don't need to stop or hold or fix this thing. We need to get back on the original path.
Oh, you're muted, Claire. Sorry.
I think you're right. I think that this place, I don't know, it will either explode fantastically in a matter of minutes, or it will continue to hold for hundreds of more years in this sort of time bubble. But luckily, it's there's no civilization nearby.
We have been so diverted and so changed up from our original path. I just feel hope.
We just consult my book of the traveling friends who are headed to the forge and see if it's written the part where it's been blank for so long. Every time I've opened it, but perhaps now with this additional information,
Please.
maybe it says we go there.
Please. And
Alright,
yeah,
pull out
let her
my
check. I
magic.
was going to check in with Inpu on something, but go ahead. You check that book.
I'm gonna say you can, if you want to look into the book for some insight into the future. I'm gonna ask you to cast the augury spell.
Sure. And in this moment, I miss Library Cat because I got Library Cat and the book at the same time.
Yeah, Library Cat's currently with Squeak Noir. They weren't able to travel with you into like the stasis area. So they, I think when you left them, Thad cast like a ward of protection around all of you. And Becklin was like, "We'll wait here for when you're done." And Library Cat was sitting there with Squeak Noir beside, being like, "And we shall watch the Watchers." And that's how you left them.
Nice. Second level spell.
And to make Impu feel better, you handed Impu to help him calm down. You were like, "Here, do you like cats? Here, pet a cat. A cat. When I pet a cat, it normally calms me down." And Impu was like, "Yes, this is good."
So as
That's okay.
Augury is loading up here, Aelric is going to turn to Inpu, and ask what probably Harold or Thad would ask, in the generality of, with your eyes, what do you see?
I see the circle, which confuses me. And correct me if I'm wrong, Koi, I cannot see within.
Yeah.
But what worries me, which I've been so preoccupied with the loss of time and meeting you and being utterly confused about so much. It never dawned on me to ask if all of us gods have been gone for 350 years. What about all of those that we were taking care of? I took care of the dearly departed, their souls. And now I see this sphere, and all of those that I am to shepherd are drawn to it. Even I somehow feel drawn to it. And I don't know why. And this worries me.
I'm just going to read what I wrote into the background chat here that we have. Arlie, you turned to the chapter in your book, which you don't remember having seen before. The chapter is called The Party Travels to the Dark Place. When you turn to that page in your little book, there are two words written under the heading: Weal and Woe. Inpu, as you're answering Aelric's question, you're looking out and seeing the individuals, little ants marching to the horizon towards that dark circle on the horizon. And as you turn to respond to Aelric, you see, again, unchanged, this throng of blue dragonborn surrounding and standing at his side and behind him.
Clearly the souls are not utterly drawn for those as I remember, with strong wills, are able to control their otherworldly soul instincts. It's the word I'm looking for, I guess. I mean, your ancestors are just an excellent example. Clearly, they still feel that there is much to be done in guiding you. That they have all, or most, have stuck with you. That is probably the same of the orcish woman who follows Harold. The little one downstairs. Why are they following? Why are those leading towards that sphere? What is drawing them?
If Arlie is right, and that is the forge, there is simply no telling. It might be a prison, might be a way of drawing power. There are forces at work here that Arlie, even Thad can't fully manage to understand. I think it best to leave this place and get to that sphere. Arlie, what have you found in your book?
I'm just trying to decide between reading the good news first or the bad news first.
I think the bad news first.
Right. We just opened the chapter on woe.
Okay.
And
Are
then
there
I
no-
do that.
Oh my god. Okay. The chapter of woe is a single word that you need to translate because it's actually in an old language that's like a proto-common. It was one of the first written languages used by when the elves and humans and orcs started having diplomatic relationships and needed a single unifying language. It translates our. Oh, actually, give me an intelligence or history check with advantage, Arlie. This is a DC 17 if you can translate this word. This is in the woe.
What kind of check? Sorry?
History with advantage because you are a knowledge cleric. Okay, with an 8, you are not able to translate the word, but you do recognize symbols from different languages. Now, this is like an iconographic word like Chinese would be, so it's not like pulling spelling, but it's like built with symbols. There's like an orcish symbol that's also with an elvish symbol that's also with like some human stuff. This is like early, this is thousands of years ago, this word. You see what looks like something that's used in the elvish symbol for sunset. You see a specific line and a simple symbol that's used in a complex orcish symbol for the opposite of victory, like a loss. Not like an emotional loss, but like the loss of a battle. And you see human, something that is used in some more archaic symbols in human religion for like night or midnight.
Right. Well, the good news is that I can't read the bad news. So we should be able to be very confident moving forward. Now I will try to read the actual good news.
Give me another. Give me the same intelligence.
History.
Yeah.
Sorry, is it a history check? Like the same, like history check?
Yeah,
with advantage,
history
or-
with advantage. Yeah. What just happened on my screen? I feel like something just happened. With a 10. With a 10, you also see it's this like ancient symbol, complex symbol. Unfortunately, this book is only eligible to Arlie. This is like a celestial book. It's actually, this book allows her to, this gives her mechanical, this book gave her the mechanics of portent dice. Arlie has portent dice. They come from this book. Translating the word in the wheel, which is the good word, you see one of the first. You see a word that is used in so many. It's like a root symbol. That is, this is hard to describe for people who don't use iconographic languages, because like you'll have a root symbol in an iconographic language, and then there'll be like additions to that symbol that like modify and augment that meaning. You have two lines like this means like person in Chinese, and then you have like this and it's like big, and then like this is like heaven, and like this is like this, and then this, and then that with this means something else. You see this core symbol for what is used in almost every single iteration of Elvish and Orcish for a deity.
Interesting. I actually think it might be really important to understand what is our wheel. So I may use my portent dice.
Again?
Swap out that.
Yeah, no, you can use your portent dice. You can replace with your portent dice.
So I think I
Yeah.
actually want to replace the 8 with a 16. And then I can't see what it would be. It's a history,
That's all
so
good.
It would be 16 plus 2.
It'd be 16 plus 2, so 18. Yeah, with an 18,
So you're the woe or the wheel? Which one are you gonna?
The
This is
wheel. The wheel.
the
I think the
good.
wheel basically said God, divinity, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of like
Divinity.
Arlie's bag. Like it's like, oh, good,
Yeah.
the gods will help us. The gods will be there. The gods are part of it.
Yeah.
I think she's way more curious about getting
The
a
woe.
handle on what's
The
well, I
woe
said
is-
wheel, didn't I? But I said
That's fine.
I said
That's
it
fine.
wrong.
No, you mean the
In
woe.
my head, wheel is bad.
So okay, so you're using your portent dice to give yourself an 18 on interpreting the woe word.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. No, that's great. This is portent dice, rarely used by Arlie. This is awesome. So like Arlie kind of just like looks through and then like looks through again on the book. Like, wait a minute, is that the right page? The word is death.
Right. So it's
But-
really vague. and
But
it's sort of
but
something
if I may though, because you're giving yourself an 18 here, so it is. There are like nouns and verbs and adjectives and adverbs, right? These are like a noun is a person, place, a thing. A verb is like an action. An adjective is like describes an act. Describes a noun. An adverb describes a verb. This word death is not a verb, and it is not a noun. This word death is a place.
It's a place. Whoa.
Like a proper noun for a place.
Like if this language has a distinction between nouns for objects and nouns for places. They're like two different things. So this is like the noun for the place of death. Or like the death as a place word, as opposed to death as a thing or death as an event.
Right. So I don't know what this means for us. Part of me thinks that we may be either about to murder Legion or get ourselves killed, or that we may be going to a realm of one of the realms of hell itself. But don't worry, we've got the divine on our side. So really nothing. This is a lot of much ado about nothing to say really nothing. We already do this all the time. Face death and have the divine kind of on our side a little bit. So we press on, and now we have a location. So
Death is only the
progress.
next adventure.
Oh, Inpu? What?
Death is only the next adventure.
Literally think that's what it's saying. For you especially. Specifically.
Let's get the
One-
other and head to the sphere.
Nice. You all had remember the gnomes last time you were there? They gave you some little got you some earpieces that like when you're when you're within one hex, like when you're in the same hex. So when you're within about 3 miles of each other, 3 to 6 miles, you can just like communicate. Just to simplify our communications. We did that. So as you say that, Aelric, you hear all in your earpiece. You're like, you hear Harold come through. Hey guys, now might be a good time to come back from wherever it is you are. We could use your help, or at least it might be good to be able to run away together if that is what will need to happen.
Great, so I think you two should get in the elevator, and then I will go and kick the back panel.
Oh, I think, is there an exit on this elevator? We're just in the final stages of doing whatever it is Thad thinks he needs to do for this arcane reactor, and I thought it might be best if we're all in the same place so that if we're going to avoid death, we can do it together. Or we can walk out as if nothing happened. That'd be a great option. See you soon.
We have a direction, Harold. We have a direction. We're headed to the forge. We're coming down.
Oh, great. Let's hope we're alive to go in that direction.
So I think that the gears should be able to send the elevator down really fast, but I'm not going to lie, that's a lot more dangerous than going up really
Amazing. So I'm going to say that we're going to end this session as the three of you, and I'm just going to pull up this view from the spire just as like a final image for ourselves to remind us where we are. This lovely view from this spire with the darkness that is now your new heading or location. As you turn your back on this view, you all walk back into the elevator. The door and the glass doors, like you could, the doors closed, but you can see they're just glass doors because up here it's super fancy. So it's not like you, like when think of it like the camera angle is in the hallway, watching you all walk into the elevator. The doors close. We see you all in the glass box. And Arlie says, as the doors close, I think this should work. It might be a little, and then, boom, and you all just like drop as the shaft just almost at terminal velocity, just straight down. Ah! Kind of all of you leaving the ground as it drops faster than you could fall. With that, we are going to end today's session. That is the end of our little exposition bottle episode thing that we did. We're going to come back and we are going to resume with some of the roles of Thad and Harold next week and go back into the party reconnecting and resuming the main thrust of our story at You Are Legion. Here we are. Thank you everyone for watching. It was great to have an active chat talking about cool sci-fi shows.
Yeah, man, the chat was on fire tonight. Thank
Hell
you,
yeah.
everybody.
That's what it's all about. Also fun to see the the skeleton in the red shirt. Love those references. Keep them coming. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Eric, for joining me. Thank you, the chat, of course. And until next time, we're so excited to see you. It'll be great. You know, we have some exciting stuff coming up in October that we're going to do. I'm going to keep that in my sleeve for now. And we also have a little something that I think maybe next week Eric can announce. I hope. So I'll leave, always leave them wanting more. So until next time, thank you everyone for watching. This wouldn't be the same without you because you are Legion.